Hi YouTubers, it's video right now, so video cigar gang, nice bit motherfucking cigar gang, so video for you motherfuckers right now, so guy talk video number 113, pretty fucking cool, that's pretty fucking amazing, so yes, pretty fucking cool, so discuss space right now, hookups and one night stands, so I want to know from you motherfuckers, how many of you motherfuckers have had, one night stands and hookups, so basically what is this shit, as in bullshit, so basically this has to do with one night stands and hookups, which if you don't know what that shit is, it's basically casual dating. So serious dating is when you actually start a relationship. You start by having light conversation that progresses into a relationship. You go out on one more dates, that kind of shit. Is bullshit. Casual dating or hookups or like one night stands is you meet a chick at a bar. You meet a hot chick at a bar with big boobies. Big hot pussy, and you take her home to your house and you have sex with her, and that's called a one night stand. And obviously one night stands generally don't last. It's not about forming a relationship, getting fucking married and starting a family, having children, having a son, having a daughter, and having a loving, caring relationship. It's more about just fucking. So by fucking I mean having sex, sticking your pecker in her pussy, sticking your pecker in her asshole. And that can go with whether you're gay, bi, straight, doesn't really fucking matter. I mean, any kind of relationship. So yeah, casual dating is kind of like what, the vom.in.net comments, or they're called like vay.in.net comments or vin.in.net comments promote. Basically, they're links to, hookup websites. They're all over fucking YouTube right now. And obviously, those are fucking scams, but kind of in honor of those fucking comments, which are totally, fucking scams, total, bullshit scams. I thought I would do this video about hookups. It's like, it's like, hookups are not about, starting a family, starting a steady relationship, a long-term relationship, growing old together and getting married and having a fucking family. They're about, taking a chick home or taking a guy home from a club, a nightclub or a dance club or a rave or anything like that, and basically, going back to your place and fucking and having sex, sticking your pecker in her pussy, sticking your pecker in the guy's asshole. That's the whole point. It's like, that's what casual dating is. So after rambling on for 2.5 minutes, I just want to know from you motherfuckers, how many of you motherfuckers have done this? Because I knew people a while back, several years back. I'm not gonna say who. I'm not gonna name fucking names, but I know people a while back who were really into this, hookups, or like casual dating, like one night. They call them one night stands, which basically are, you meet somebody at a club, you come home, you're drunk, you're under the influence of drugs or alcohol, and you basically, have sex. You basically have sex while you're drunk or while you're high, after, drinking several beers at a club, or, smoking some pot, whatever. It's like, it's just more like casual hookups. Personally, this shit doesn't appeal to me at all. I mean, I've never really dated myself personally in my life. It's like, I've never had a serious girlfriend in my life, nor have I ever really, have I had sex in my life. I'm still a virgin, but that kind of relationship doesn't appeal to me. So the idea of getting drunk at a club, getting under the influence of drugs or alcohol at a club, and then coming home all stoned or all buzzed or all drunk, and then having sex while you're all drunk and buzzed, and then waking up in the next morning with somebody next to you. That doesn't appeal to me. That shit doesn't appeal to me. However, for you motherfuckers, I know that does appeal to you. There are a lot of motherfuckers who that shit does appeal to them. They're into partying, drinking, smoking, getting buzzed, and coming home from a party or a rave and having sex, sex. But you got to be careful. So I mean, it may be fun to do while in the spurs of the moment. But you got to really careful about that shit. I mean, if you do that shit, you got to be careful. Make sure the person's at least 18 years old or 21 years old. You got to maybe be careful. You don't get the woman pregnant. Because the last thing you want is to 2 weeks later or 5 weeks later or 10 weeks later for the woman to say, I'm pregnant with your child. It's like then you'd be on fucking Maury Povich. It's like fucking Maury Povich or like fucking Jerry Springer. It's like yeah, you don't want that fucking bullshit. It's like also you got to be really fucking careful about STDs. STDs, STIs, because, when you're having sex, when you're sticking the pecker in the pussy, sticking the pecker in the asshole, giving a blowjob, the woman's, sucking your pecker, giving you a blowjob, you're not thinking, because oftentimes you're stoned, you're under the influence of marijuana, under the influence of, recreational drugs or alcohol, and you're not thinking about using protection, because in general, when people are under the influence of alcohol and or drugs, they tend to not think as well. They tend to make, poor judgment. That's why you can't drive while you're drunk, and that's why, you're more likely not to use protection, not to use a rubber, not to use a condom on your dick, your pecker, your schlong, or, use a diaphragm on the woman's, pussy, her vagina, because, you're under the influence. So it's a dangerous ball game. I mean, I would be careful. So, I'm just curious, motherfuckers, have you ever done this shit before? Have you ever engaged in one-night stands? Have you ever engaged in casual dating or like hookups, and you also got to be careful, make sure the person's at least 18 years old, because there's been people in the past, especially on like dating apps, not so much like the vom.in.net or bed.in.net, but on like actual dating apps, who've gone into a lot of fucking bullshit, because they end up sleeping with somebody and it turns out the person is not of legal age. So you got to be fucking careful. There are a lot of variables and a lot of shit involved, so you got to be fucking careful. You got to be really, really fucking careful. Make sure the people who you're sleeping with casually are at least of the age of consent. Make sure you're using fucking protection, your wiener, your dick, your pecker. And make sure, you use protection, because the last thing you want is to get the woman pregnant and be on fucking Maury Povich. So anyway, just more of a joke. So the bottom line is, be fucking careful. So I personally wouldn't do this shit personally. I would never do this shit personally. It doesn't appeal to me personally, but just let me know if you've ever done this shit before. Anyway, my Guy Talk videos are not usually this long. It's at 6 minutes and 40 seconds now, so I apologize for making this video a little bit too long, but I'm just rambling on. So anyway, pretty fucking cool. Bye.